Ever wonder what gives a cryptocurrency that staying power?
Hmm. Interesting question.
We're diving deep into tokenomics to find out.
Ah, tokenomics. It's more than just a buzzword, isn't it?
You got that right. We're talking about the nuts and bolts of how these digital economies actually work.
It's like the DNA of a cryptocurrency.
Exactly. And we've got some amazing sources lined up today, taking us through some really well-known examples, from the simplicity of Bitcoin
Ah, Bitcoin, the OG.
to some surprisingly complex models out there.
It really is a whole spectrum of approaches when you get down to it.
Okay, so let's start with Bitcoin. Crypto Circuit podcast. They called it like digital gold, right?
Yeah, that's a pretty common analogy.
But what makes it like gold, though?
Well, Bitcoin is designed to be scarce. Only 21 million coins will ever exist.
So limited edition, just like that rare Pokemon card.
Exactly. And that scarcity, that limited supply, it's intentional. It's meant to make Bitcoin a store of value, just like, precious metals.
So if more people want it, but there's less of it.
The price goes up.
Bongo.
Supply and demand, the oldest rule in the book. Remember those historical gold rushes?
People going crazy for gold.
Exactly. They flocked to those areas where it was discovered, and the value shot up. Why? Because it was a finite resource. And Bitcoin, well, it taps into that same principle with its tokenomics.
Wow, that's actually a really good way to think about it. So then we've got Dogecoin on the other end of the spectrum.
Dogecoin, huh? Now there's a fascinating one.
It's almost like the opposite of Bitcoin, right?
How so?
Well, they keep creating more Dogecoin all the time. It's like unlimited edition.
Kind of. You're right. Dogecoin's tokenomics are designed to be inflationary. New coins are constantly being added to the system.
Okay, so what's the point of that? Why would they want it to be inflationary?
Well, that's so it can be used for everyday transactions. Like
Oh.
if you were to buy a cup of coffee with crypto.
Because the price doesn't fluctuate as much.
Exactly. It's
Yeah.
more stable, more predictable, which makes it more suitable for those smaller transactions. Think of it as digital cash.
Okay, so Bitcoin, it's like holding on to gold. Dogecoin is more like the cash in your pocket.
You got it.
But doesn't that mean they'll be worth different amounts?
Now you're getting it. The difference in their intended use, it also plays a huge role in their potential for appreciation.
Because if Dogecoin is designed to be more common,
You might not see those same price surges that Bitcoin could have.
right, that makes a lot of sense.
It's all a trade-off.
Totally. So Bitcoin is like that rare, valuable painting, and Dogecoin is like the money you use at the grocery store. Both are useful.
An excellent analogy. Now, are you ready to go beyond these basic models?
Ready to level up.
Let's do it. Let's talk about platforms like Ethereum and Polkadot.
Ethereum, Polkadot, those are some big names.
They've got some seriously intricate tokenomics, way more dynamic than Bitcoin or Dogecoin.
All right, hit me with it. What have we got?
Well, Ethereum, for example, it doesn't have a fixed supply cap like Bitcoin does.
No cap. So how do they control the supply then?
They use this really interesting mechanism called fee burning.
Fee burning. Okay, now you have to explain this one. What are they burning?
Basically, each time there's a transaction on the Ethereum network, a small part of that transaction fee, gone. Poof. It gets destroyed permanently.
They're destroying their own currency. That seems kind of wild.
It does, doesn't it? But it's a clever way to counteract inflation.
By making less of it.
Exactly. That remaining ether, which is what their cryptocurrency is called, it becomes potentially more valuable over time.
Okay, so it's like a self-regulating system, almost. The more people use Ethereum,
The more ether gets burned.
which could increase the value of what's left. Man, that's interesting.
And it gets even more complex. Ethereum is also moving towards something called a proof-of-stake model.
Proof of stake. Isn't that where users can stake their ether to become validators?
You're on top of it. And those validators, they basically help verify transactions, and in return, they earn rewards.
Okay, so it's like they're incentivizing users to become more actively involved in the network.
Exactly. And this shift to proof of stake, it impacts how quickly new ether is created as well, making those tokenomics even more, shall we say, sophisticated.
Wow, Ethereum is playing on a whole other level. What about Polkadot? They're inflationary too, right?
You're right, they are. But with Polkadot, it's all tied to how much people are actually participating in the network,
Participating how?
mainly through something called staking. They basically lock up or stake their DOT tokens.
And DOT is Polkadot's cryptocurrency.
You got it.
So let me guess, the more DOT that's being staked.
The lower the inflation rate. You're good at this.
Huh, thanks. I'm learning from the best. So it's like a reward system built into the tokenomics.
Exactly. It encourages users to hold onto their DOT for the long term, which can help stabilize the price.
Wow, they've really thought of everything. This is way more complex than I initially thought.
It just goes to show how important well-designed tokenomics are if a cryptocurrency wants to succeed long term.
It's like the foundation for a strong and stable crypto economy.
Precisely. But, not all tokenomic models are created equal.
Oh, you think of a particular example.
I am. And it involves some adorable little creatures.
Wait, are you talking about Axie Infinity?
The one and only. It's a fascinating case study.
I've heard it's a bit of a cautionary tale.
That's putting it mildly. It shows what can happen when those tokenomics aren't carefully thought out.
Okay, I'm definitely intrigued. Let's dive into this Axie Infinity situation. What happened there?
So Axie Infinity, at its core, it's a game
Okay.
where you collect these creatures, Axies,
Right.
and you breed them, you battle them.
Yeah, I've heard of it.
It got super popular partly because you can earn cryptocurrency by playing.
Yeah, that was mind-blowing when it first came out. Like, you can make money playing a game.
Exactly. Super innovative, right? They use this two-token system.
2 tokens, okay.
One was called AXS. That was for governance, voting rights, that kind of thing.
Makes sense.
And then the other one was SLP, which is what you earn just by playing.
Oh, I see.
So you earn SLP, and then you could swap it for other cryptocurrencies, or even cash out.
So what went wrong? It sounds like a cool idea.
Well, the problem was how they introduced that SLP into the system.
Okay.
Every time someone bred new Axies.
More SLP got created.
Exactly.
So more players equals more SLP flooding the market.
And that's where things went a bit sideways.
Because
Basic economics, right? When supply's higher than demand.
just go down.
Exactly. And that's exactly what happened with SLP. The value crashed.
Ouch, that's gotta hurt if you're a player who invested in the game.
Yeah, a lot of people were disappointed, for sure.
So what'd they do? Did they just give up?
Not at all. They actually recognized the problem, which is huge.
Okay.
And they made some changes to try to stabilize things.
Like what?
One of the biggest things they did was introduce this thing called burning mechanisms for SLP.
Burning, as in deleting it.
Kinda. Imagine it like a digital bonfire.
Okay.
They're throwing some of that excess SLP into the fire.
So it's gone forever.
Exactly. Reduces that circulating supply.
So that supply and demand can get back in balance.
Exactly. It's not a perfect system. It's more complicated than that.
Sure.
But it highlights something crucial about tokenomics.
What's that?
Even with a really innovative idea, you need careful design and you have to manage it. It's ongoing.
So it's not just a set it and forget it kind of thing.
Not at all. Axie Infinity, it's a reminder that a token's value,
Yeah.
it's tied to how useful it is, how healthy that whole ecosystem is.
It's all connected.
Exactly.
Okay, so we've gone from Bitcoin, which is supposed to be scarce, like gold,
Right.
to Dogecoin, which is abundant, meant for everyday spending.
Yeah.
We talked about Ethereum, burning fees, proof of stake. That's complicated.
Gambling more complex.
And Polkadot, tying tokenomics to user participation.
All fascinating purchase.
Then we have Axie Infinity, where things, well, they didn't quite go as planned.
A good lesson to learn from, though.
For sure. But why does all this even matter to the average person? Someone listening to us right now.
Because it's all about making informed decisions.
Okay.
If you understand the tokenomics, how it's designed, what the goals are, how they manage the supply,
Yeah.
you can start to see if a cryptocurrency has potential.
Instead of just like blindly investing because it sounds cool.
Exactly. It's like you wouldn't buy a car without looking under the hood, right?
I definitely wouldn't.
This is the same thing, just with crypto.
You're looking at where it might go, not just where it is today.
Precisely. Tokenomics gives you the tools to understand that journey.
So it's about asking the right questions. Is the price going to go up over time? Is it meant to be more stable?
All great questions to ask.
And all of that helps you make better decisions with your money, time, energy, all of it.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
This has been eye-opening, I gotta say.
Glad to hear it.
I feel like I have a much better grasp on how this whole crypto world works.
Knowledge is power, right? Especially in a space like crypto, always changing.
Speaking of knowledge, before we wrap things up, I've got a little thought experiment for our listeners.
I love a good thought experiment.
So imagine you're creating your own cryptocurrency.
Okay, I'm listening.
What would its tokenomics look like? What are your
Wow.
top priorities? What would its tokenomics look like? What are your top priorities?
Ooh, that's a good one. So many possibilities, right?
Right. Would you go for that scarcity, like Bitcoin, hoping it becomes the next big digital gold rush?
Interesting. Or maybe I'd focus on stability, make it super practical for everyday transactions like Dogecoin.
Right, right. Or you could get really creative with it. Tie the token to some real-world activity, kind of like how Polkadot rewards participation.
Ah, I see where you're going with this. It really makes you think about the bigger picture. What do you want your cryptocurrency to achieve? What problem are you solving?
Totally. And that's what makes tokenomics so fascinating. It's not just about the money, it's about the potential impact.
Absolutely. Are you trying to revolutionize finance? Support a creative community? The possibilities are endless.
Mind-blowing when you think about it. Tokenomics, it's like the foundation for this whole new world of digital interaction.
Exactly. It's a new frontier, and like any frontier, there will be bumps in the road, lessons to be learned.
And hopefully some amazing successes along the way.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
This has been an incredible deep dive. Tokenomics, it's a lot to wrap your head around, but I feel like we've only just scratched the surface.
We definitely have. But the most important thing is to never stop learning, right?
100%. So, to all our listeners out there, keep exploring, keep asking those questions, and remember,
Tokenomics can be your guide to navigating the exciting, always evolving world of crypto.
and who knows, maybe one day you'll be designing the next Bitcoin.
Mhm.
Until next time, deep divers.